activated, but on top of that, every movement or rotation that has happened has still taken place. So for example, if any object followed the player for any period of time, it was now off in some random location across the level. This meant that not only would every trigger have to be respawned, but they would also have to have their actions reset before starting over again. All of this was confusing at first, but doable with patience. First things first though, I had to set up a way to begin the loop of triggers. To do that, I have a touch toggled spawn trigger at the very beginning of the level, set to spawn or essentially activate triggers set to group 3. This way, we could put every trigger we need to loop on group 3, and they would all get activated eventually. Spawn triggers got a few neat new additions in 2.2, one of them being this handy option called spawn order. Clicking this setting makes every trigger on group 3 activate in the order they're placed in the editor when spawned. This is basically the only way this level was possible at all. If it didn't exist, I would have had to time every single trigger out manually using ultra specific delays between them. Big shoutouts to spawn order for some weird out-of-place structure in the level, phase through it, and float up through space, breaking the infinite loop. If you want to try this level out for yourself, I would recommend skipping to here in the video to avoid me talking about spoilers for the ending to the level. Before I began putting the secret ways into the level, I had a few guidelines. I didn't want the level solution to just be a wild goose chase, so at the very least, I knew that for each secret way, I would want something to be out of place or missing so that if the player was observant enough, they could find it before even realizing they had to. As an extra and even more obvious hint, I wanted to create hint art, or essentially just a drawing of the location of the secret way, to make sure the player had some idea of where to go. Each part has unique structuring, so I had hoped seeing the art would at least hint to which part it was in. On top of this, I didn't want to make the level a free win if you watched the video, so I did want to somehow make which secret way you got on your attempt random, hence why I wanted to make multiple. With those rules for myself in place, I started looking for spots that would make for good secret ways, because yeah, unfortunately I didn't already have them figured out while I was building. It's fine. The first secret way I made was here in the robot. I found a cool trick where you could skip this first green orb, hit the second one late, land beneath this bottom platform, and fall all the way through the top one, which was exactly the vibe I wanted for my secret ways. The platform you fell through was the only one you couldn't touch normally that didn't have spikes on it, which was my little indication for it as mentioned earlier. Since there are only really 3 parts, I made a second one in the first cube, where you have to fall into a structure at the bottom of the screen where a glow ball is missing. And finally, in the ending part, I hid one in between these pretty obvious looking spike structures where all you have to do is drop between them. Easily my least creative one, but come on, look what I had to work with. With the 3 ways decided, it was time to make the ending sequence. With a setup consisting of a spawn trigger and a big array of effects and position setups, I had the player fall off screen onto a platform, play a little glitch effect using shaders and edit song triggers to make it sound eerie at the same time, and I sneakily set the player falling in super slow speed with low gravity in the center of the screen, and threw together a quick space background to fill some space. Then, after the player sits and listens to sound effect wind for about 10 seconds, I have the title appear set by set alongside the sick custom voice line I made earlier. Finally, with a sharp cut to black, the ending sequence was finished. And I think it is easily the most striking ending to any level I've ever made. Using voice lines like this is so much easier now with a song trigger, and I really hope I see more levels use it in the future, because the potential is truly endless. This setup is right above the second secret way though, and since I didn't want to copy all of this over for the other 2, I instead remotely spawned it when you took the first or the third secret ways, then teleported the player to above the second part, rotated the camera so it looked like the player was falling downwards to be consistent, and rotated the title screen as well so it wasn't upside down. It took a lot of tweaking for it to work, but once it was done, all 3 of my secret ways now had sick ending cutscenes. Alright, I have the level looping forever, and now I even have the secret ways. What else is there even to do? Well, with a level like this, a lot of logical issues come into play. Like, what if the player just discovers a secret way on accident and beats the level in 30 seconds? Obviously, I don't want players to completely cheese my level without at least knowing what happened, so some sort of anti-cheat method had to be implemented. The simplest way of doing this, I thought, would be to make the secret ways only open up after you loop through the level once. Doing this was somewhat straightforward. At the very end of the level, I created a pickup trigger that only activates once the very first time you reach it, and it increments this number right here by 1. At the same time, I made this number have item persistence, meaning that if you ever died and restarted the level, this number would still be the same value if it was ever 1 in the past. This way, I had a value to call back to and check if the player has ever made it through the first loop, simply by checking if this number was 1. So, To make the secret ways inactive until looping, there is an instant count trigger at the start, which checks exactly once for if this value is 1, and if it isn't, the whole setup for choosing which secret way is active gets toggled off. Speaking of which, randomizing which secret way the player gets has quite the process as well. It all stems from this advanced random trigger, which very simply spawns one of these 3 spawn triggers, each with a 33% chance of happening, so no secret way is more likely than the others. These spawn triggers then activate a group. For each different possible outcome, it activates a pickup trigger that enables state either 1, 2, or 3. State 1 is the first secret way, state 2 is the second, and state 3 is the third. The state the level is in is indicated with this little number here, being item ID 1. Using pickup triggers for this is super easy since we can just have them activate on spawn and set our number to be exactly what it needs to be. This way we can have a readable number to tell what state we are in and what actually needs to happen during it. I also have an item edit trigger on our setup, which sets item ID 1 to be 0 right before any of this happens so that the number doesn't just keep getting bigger every time we add a value to it trying to change it. In hindsight, I absolutely could have just used item edit triggers for everything here instead of pickup, but that's the 2.1 creator in me. I also only learned how to use the item edit trigger for this specific function, so it is what it is. It ended up working anyway, so it's alright. All this really does is tell us a state though, and obviously we wouldn't want the secret ways opening before we even get to them, so at the end of the level, I have instant count triggers for each of the 3 possible states that set everything up for when you loop. These check for which number our item ID 1 is, and accordingly toggle some things off to make the secret ways open up essentially. Since all of the state values become item persistent at the end, once you loop, you can die or reset as many times as you want and you will still have the same secret way. Imagine how annoying it would be if you finally looped through the level only to die before actually figuring out where your secret way is, and all of a sudden you have to do the whole thing again and you don't even get the same secret way. That would be frustrating, and I did not want that to happen. Now that I had the basic system for making and checking the state for the secret ways, I had to put everything together for them to be switched between. Firstly, I added hitboxes to every secret way so you would die on the first attempt, and I used instant count triggers at the end to toggle the right one off for your state, so you could actually enter whichever secret way you got. I also made a short special animation for dying to a secret way on your first attempt to serve as an additional hint if the player discovers it by accident. Finally, I designed and placed hint art for each secret way into the level to show up once you've looped, one in each part, and which set is visible is determined right at the start once you've looped, using these sets of instant count setups. So
shake it off. 水位 shake it off. 簡單 Kinig Pansit Canton kasalo pa. Busog na, sarap Pinas pa.
Step beyond our door, yeah. And if it's not enough, I wanna see the stuff the world has got in store. I wanna take it all in, I'm falling. The cityscape by night, wanna catch in my photos. Where you go, every corner twice as bright. They'll be my treasures forever. When I can't hold you tight, I'll see the Stockholm lights. The Stockholm lights, the Stockholm lights. Tomorrow feels a year away, like the seconds, the beginning and the end. But if in time it's yesterday, your picture's gonna bring it home to me again. The world is waiting up, the world is waiting half a step beyond our door. And if it's not enough, I wanna see the stuff the world has got in store. I wanna take it all in, I'm falling. The cityscape by night, wanna catch in my photos. Where you go, every corner twice as bright. They'll be my treasures forever. When I can't hold you tight, I'll see the Stockholm lights. The Stockholm lights, the Stockholm lights.
Ui dùi ui. Cái game này xong rồi. Xong rồi đấy. Số phận của con boss cuối được xác định ngay từ giây phút này rồi đấy. Thêm cả tượng Nai nữa này, tượng Assassin luôn này. Búp rèm hồi chiêu đấy nhá. Ok, nói thật không phải tự tin chứ tầm này mình quá mạnh rồi. Bây giờ mình nghĩ chỉ cần lao đến đấm thẳng con boss là kiểu gì nó cũng chết rồi. Video về như ra thần trưởng của mình đến đây cũng là kết thúc rồi. Và nếu các bạn thấy video này hay thì đừng quên đọc và làm theo phần mô tả nhé. Còn bây giờ thì xin chào và hẹn gặp lại. Yo, what's up, bro? Well,
What? What?
Yo, that is Armin van Buuren. You better not butcher this. That was my childhood. Here we go. Nah, that goes hard. Avant-garde. Wait. Yo, that is Armin van Buuren.
hello everyone, this is your daily dose of
Geometry Dash.
Recently, something that had never happened before just happened in Geometry Dash, and these are shocking news for sure. So basically, there is this level called Tears of Denial, in which was rated Mythic, until RobTop decided to just go and downgrade the level for Legendary, without giving any reason for that whatsoever. People were flabbergasted. Imagine if your only Mythic level suddenly got a downgrade like that. I would quit the game, bro, unironically. Anyways, a lot of people say that the reason this happened was because this level almost completely replicates the designs from the games that it takes inspiration. Like, look at this, I can barely tell they look different. And when RobTop rated it Mythic, since the level had no description, he didn't know that. But after Column made a video talking about this level, bringing awareness for the people that this level was in fact very inspired by these games, and after the creator added a description to the level stating that fact, RobTop just thought both the level and the game were too similar, so he just decided to downgrade it for lack of originality most likely. It all is just a theory though.
A game theory. What do you think about all this situation? Leave your thoughts down below. That's gotta be one of the best transitions I've ever seen. And that's the biggest crash out I've ever seen.
Oh my. So the setup's not doing too great.
This level unironically plays a song after you leave it. This is not fake, by the way. Lee just cooked a new collab part for us. Find the Discord server in the description if you wanna have your clip to appear in the next video. Also,
chuẩn thần thái, chuẩn phong cách và chuẩn tự tin cùng.
Requested. There's no way this is better than Glory. That's what some people are saying. Here we go. Oh, this doesn't even get close to the...
What is the hardest harder rated level in Geometry Dash? Harder levels always consist of either being a 6 or 7 star rated level with relatively difficult gameplay, with some of the levels being harder than a handful of easy demons. And there is actually a list for every rated non-demon level called the underrated levels list. And if we simply go to the harder rated levels section, the hardest one is called the 3 pillars. What is the hardest harder rated level in Geometry Dash? Harder levels always consist of either being a 6 or 7 star rated level with relatively difficult gameplay, with some of the
this is your daily dose of geometry dash.
The CBF detected meme explained in under 60 seconds. CBF, or click between frames, is a geometry dash mod that allows the player to, as the name says, click between frames. Geometry dash runs on a frame-based system, so this mod gives a competitive advantage. Many players consider this mod to be cheating, including the creator of No Graves, a top 5 extreme demon. Due to this, they added what is called a CBF blocker. The message CBF detected, loser, would appear on screen and put the player in an infinite death loop. After just hours, this message would get incredibly memed in the Geometry Dash community, and after a day or so, would spread its way into other communities. In conclusion, the CBF detected meme was mostly just to allow people to use a serious topic in a fun and creative way. Drop a sub for more facts.
Have you seen this meme before?
If you play Geometry Dash, you probably recognize it as the CBF detected meme. But what even is the context behind this? The meme originates from the level Nullscapes, in which the creator, it's Kiba, included a click between frames blocker. Click between frames, or CBF for short, is a Geometry Dash mod which, as the name suggests, allows clicks and movement to be registered in between the game's ticks/frames, which is especially useful for 60Hz players. However, some people are heavily opposed to the mod and consider it cheating, and the people who do will often include CBF blockers in their levels, which can detect when the player is using the mod and blocks them from proceeding through the level, such as in Nullscapes. While some people were angry about this being in the level, many people found the pop-up message funny and made it into a copy-pasta meme, where they include the pop-up in various other levels and games, becoming a staple meme in the Geometry Dash community. Have you seen this meme before? If you play Geometry Dash, you probably recognize it as the CBF.
Bộ đôi siêu sao dinh dưỡng thêm vị dâu sữa và chuối sữa Nutifood Wow Plus, vị trái cây mới.
Na festa do fim de semana, só um rolê bom. Ela chega e desencana com passo bem show. Na festa do fim de semana, só um rolê bom. Ela chega e desencana com passo bem show. Na festa do fim de semana, só um rolê bom. Ela chega e desencana com passo bem show. Na festa do fim de semana, só um rolê bom. Ela chega e desencana com passo bem show.
Nước tăng lực Rockstar, thương hiệu đến từ Mỹ.